So without further ado, I think let's just click on next and start our waterfall playthrough.
Okay, here we are with the waterfalls.
Yeah, so I guess we'll just start the game and let it present itself.
I think before we get to the gameplay part, we should probably point out that the game looks much better compared to the early access phase, because in 1.0 we gave it well, a great facelift. We had a visual overhaul in many areas of the game. The game is now prettier, brighter. We have many new visual effects. We also have the granular graphical effects, so you are able to, for example, turn off the bloom if you do not like it. So yeah, and we have clouds in the background. We are finally playing the game on a map that is not hanging in the endless void. So that's pretty neat.
Yep.
Yeah, let's start with what's happening in our starting area.
Yeah, so this is something that's been a bit overhauled, well, quite a bit actually, for the new players. So to the side of me, you can see the blinking tutorial, and I might actually want to shift myself a little bit now that I think about it, because after I click on it, you can see some new information here. So welcome to Timberborn, and this bunch of windows will teach you how to control the game and the basic, and how to make a basic setup for your settlement, which you can then expand upon. There's also some extra hints that are not necessarily going to guide you, but are just going to give you a little heads up. So yeah, starting on, we just have some camera controls, which you can move your camera in various ways, and zoom in to investigate your beavers and zoom out. And then you can pause the game, which we already did for the sake of the presentation. And then let's just unpause and bring the world back to life. We can do different speeds of the game. Let's return to the first one though. And yeah, moving on to the regular gameplay, after we have the basic controls down, we'll go and start with the most basic of beaver actions, which is cutting down trees. So let's just place down these 2 lumberjack flags and let our beavers build them. Which, I'm just going to speed up a bit.
What are we going to do with the wood that we are going to cut?
Well, we're going to build everything. That's the basic of the game. And, well, first of all, we obviously need to connect them, as well as mark them for cutting. And then we'll proceed into our first construction site, which will be water pump. So water pumps, as the name suggests, you put it next to the water, and it's going to give you water. So let's just hook this up to the road network, give our beavers a little bit more time, and as you can see, they are dragging the materials to the construction site, and it will be constructed, well, on the next day, because now they will start passing out on the floor because they don't have proper housing.
But rest assured that over the course of this walkthrough, we'll be able to see much more comfortable beaver settlements, where everyone is satisfied by having a place to sleep that is not just the bare ground.
Yeah, so we've secured our water, and now we can grab some basic food, which is conveniently placed right next to it, which are the berries. You start the game with a bunch of them, but it's bound to run out at some point. Beavers are not... they're quite hungry. And speaking of food, we can put down Folktail Specialty Efficient Farmhouse, which is a larger farmhouse compared to their Iron Teeth cousins. And we'll just place it a safe distance away, so we have access to this bunch of green area without really encroaching on all the other construction that we would like to do in the surroundings. In the meantime, we could also expand the green area by demolishing this blockage, which should happen the next day, especially if we increase its priority.
And what is the point of expanding the green area in the game?
Yeah, so as you can see by the trees here, on the left we have nice green living trees, and on the right side, on the brown terrain, that's just this awful desert, we have dead trees. So they're no longer alive, they will not grow, the little saplings will not grow, but the grown trees obviously you can still cut down to get some wood. And as you can see, after we deleted this blockage, water filled in this spot, and we got a little bit more green area to work with.
And that actually gave us a little teaser of one of the unique features of Timberborn, which is the water physics. As you could see, as soon as Adrian deleted that blockage, water spilled into that little area. And it's possible because in the game we have 3D water physics. Both water and bad water that we can see in the lower right corner right now are affected by the water physics system. You are able to terraform the land, and as you change the shape of the terrain, water will adjust accordingly to the laws of water physics.
Yeah.
And that also means, for example, having the waterfalls in the game, the liquids are mixing, as you can see right now. It's a really complex and really satisfying thing to play with.
Yeah, but the farmhouse is now completed. We can move on to the next step, and we'll just plant a whole bunch of carrots for our beavers to enjoy. And the tutorial only wants you to make 100. You can always make more. There's nothing stopping you. So let's just make the field a little bit bigger, because that's how much land we can work with. And yeah, speaking of increasing the workload of the beavers, we can increase their working hours, which is displayed on the clock over here. And increasing it to 18 hours will just, well, simply make them work longer. This does have some side effects, though, of beavers just not being to enjoy their off time a little more. And there is a certain balance you can achieve for beavers to go to the attractions and decorations, which we'll get to soon. But let's start with investing into science.
What is the benefit of science?
Yeah, so this inventor will allow us to produce science points, which are what beavers use to discover new things. And for example, we have some basic structures like the levees, the floodgates. They all cost science points, and you can increase your production by making more inventors or observatories, or the RNTF alternative for an advanced science building. And yeah, you can just get access to more advanced and fun stuff. And yeah, the tutorial says the same thing. Let's just let the inventor work for a bit, and we'll use it later. Yeah, we have all these things that we are collecting right now, but right now we're limited by the internal storages of these buildings. So the next step will be to make some storage, extra storage, for all the different items. So let's make this large pile for the logs. And after it's done, we will be making some small tanks for our water. And you should always consider where you're placing those storages, because beavers have to walk everywhere. They don't just teleport. So this water tank, we want to put it down next to the water pump, so the worker doesn't have to walk too long. And here we can just copy the settings of this building and paste it over, so it's not something that well, it's a little quality of life feature that we recently added, and I think a lot of returning players will appreciate it, because it's been a while that you had to click everything manually. And the last type of
that, just to add to
on.
this, on top of that, we are able to duplicate the buildings right away. So we can order a constructions of a few buildings that are preset the same way. right from the start.
Yeah. Now you have the medium warehouses set up. The storage buildings are split into these three categories. You have the pileable resources, which are generally just bulky. So that's all your logs, planks, scrap metal, tanks, which are all your liquids. And then the warehouses, which are everything in between.
Okay, I think since this is a city builder, I would love to see some sort of a factory or a workshop. Can you prepare something like that?
Yeah, that's what the next step is all about. So we can put down this water wheel here and lead a path to it, and we can talk more about it while beavers are carrying the resources to it. So all power in Timberborn is just kinetic energy, and it's transferred through power shafts. There's no electricity in the game, and everything is just powered by various I guess natural sources. So we have the water flow here, which is powering the water wheel, and you can see a little preview of the water flow and how much energy it's going to produce. Then we have a power wheel, which is a source of power where beaver just walks around, produces power by spinning the wheel manually. And then we have the faction unique sources of power. For example, in the case of Folktales, it's the wind turbines, which catch wind and produce power, which is free, but it's not too reliable because wind doesn't always flow. Unlike beaver feet, for example, although they're also limited to daytime.
And also, the wind varies in strength, so you are not always sure how much power output you are going to get from the wind turbines.
Yeah. So while that water wheel is being constructed, we can do something about our beavers' low happiness and soon low workforce. So we can just put down some more lodges, and that's 6. Just as the tutorial is asking us, and that will just about cover our current population and leave some room to grow.
And speaking of beaver knowledge and lodges is where the beavers live, and when the beavers are happy living in their lodges, they are going to have little kids. And that's not a typo, not a mistake. The beaver kids are known as kids. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
They do have to walk quite a bit on the waterfalls map. Actually, we can speed it up a little bit by just making use of our spare workforce and building these lumberjack flags and then cutting down the birch trees that we have here. So then the beavers will just start using the trees that are available over here. Or we can also just...
Is there any difference between the trees in the game? Because right now we are looking at the birches and we had the pines before that.
Yeah, so we have various trees in the game. We have the pine trees, the birch trees, we have the oaks, which are actually dead on this map. I don't think we have any living oaks here, sadly. And then we have a whole bunch of other trees which are unique to this faction, for example. So we have the chestnut tree in the case of Folktales, as well as the maple tree, which produce their own resources used for Folktales food. Anyway, that sped up the production a bit, so the water wheel is ready, and we can start industrializing this wasteland by this lumber mill.
A moment ago you mentioned, I believe, the beavers' well-being, and I think we are slowly improving the well-being of the beavers we are seeing here. We are now at 1 point of, or maybe 2 points of well-being. What does it mean?
Yeah, so well-being is a value. Here it's just an average value of your entire settlement. As we can see here in this lodge, we have beavers with various well-being values. Like this one is currently very unhappy because it's hungry and thirsty. But here we have an extremely happy beaver, and that's because we just built some housing. And well-being will generally improve how your beavers are performing, which I think we will see a bigger difference in a moment after the housing is complete and we get down to making some attractions and decorations. But generally you want the well-being to be as high as possible while also maintaining high work hours. So then your beavers are just working hard and being happy with their work.
Okay, and is well-being just a cosmetic number, or does it translate to some in-game advantages for your beavers?
Yeah, it translates to exactly that. So if we click on this beaver, we have the three main values of a beaver, which is the working speed, the movement speed, as well as the life expectancy. And depending on your well-being, those values will get higher. For example, when this beaver gets a bit more happiness, which I think he should after this night, because it seems like his house was just built, he will get more working speed, 20% to be exact.
Oh, I think we have some new kids in the village.
Yeah, we had 3 beavers born during this night, which here's a little tutorial step that explains how breeding works for folktales, which is also different between factions, because folktales, well, they just get up to some things in the lodges, while Iron Thief have a little different way of producing more beavers, which is just fancy-looking pods and some water and berries, which will let you discover on your own.
Or we will show you that in the later part of the stream.
That's also true, actually.
We will also be jumping into the Iron Thief settlement.
It won't be a secret for too long. But yeah. Speaking of well-being, we can produce a little campfire for our beavers to enjoy. Let's just put it down here. And then we can also take care of our forestry problem, because as you can see, we're slowly running out of pine trees. So let's use our hard-earned science points and unlock this forester. The forester is a workplace which you'll probably find useful throughout the entire game, and it allows us to plant some more trees. So let's wait until beavers are done with this, and during the night you can see beavers will just enjoy their off time in this campfire. And now it's bedtime. The bedtime doesn't last too long, luckily. So we are short on some planks, I think. Okay, we actually my earlier optimizing has caused us to have 2 little beavers working here. I didn't notice that. So let's just redirect some beavers to work elsewhere. And then we also have 1 spare beavers for once that forester is built. Yeah, I guess in the meantime we can focus on the other well-being category, which is the decorations. And while attractions is something that beavers will enter in their off time, and only then they will satisfy the need related to that, the decorations are just a passive radius around the building, which will give you more points the more advanced the decorations are, as well as have a larger radius. But generally, you want to place the decorations where beavers are walking. So here, this is a pretty much the hottest spot in the town. That's where all the houses are, and that's where all the food is. So every beaver at some point is going to go through this intersection. And
we can now see the first workshop working, and that's the lumber mill. But what if I wanted to create a new workshop farther from the water wheel, from the source of power? For example, on that dry land on the left.
Yeah, so Greenland is pretty scarce, especially in the early game. So as we talked about previously, power is transferred through the power shafts. So if we wanted to place down a workshop that was further away, we could use these power shafts and just build another one here. We can, I think, spare some beavers to make a little more planks, so we can show off how that works here. And, well, you don't always have to use power shafts. As you can see here, this water wheel is hooked up directly into the workshop, and then we have the power shafts leading through it. Most solid buildings will transfer power, so if they have a flat side, then we'll be able to hook them up to power, as you can see by this inventor and some lodges.
That's very neat, and that comes up a lot, especially as you continue into the more advanced states of the game. The space becomes a luxury, so you need to squeeze as many buildings as possible on a small area, and that helps a lot, especially combined with the in-game verticality that we will also show you in a moment.
Yeah. So before we continue, I think we need to secure some more wood for our settlement. So let's put down some birches, as the tutorial is asking us to. And as with the carrots before, there's plenty more land that we have available, so let's just use it. And what I like to do is I like to place some birches and then some pine trees. So then we have the immediate source of logs, as well as something that will spend a little more time growing, but will also give us more wood. And yeah, here's a tutorial step that's teaching us about the well-being panel of the beavers. So let's just clear this, and as we've already talked previously, here we can see the improved stats of this beaver since some time has passed and our beavers are getting happier and happier. And here you can see all the different well-being needs that it has. Moving on, we can also...
Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, I just wanted to say that you don't have to click through every beaver. You can just click on the well-being panel and just see the average fulfillment of the various needs. So after a few days have passed, after placing down something, this will give you an idea if you need to do something more. For example, I think we're about on the edge of what a single campfire can satisfy. We'll probably need to place down another one in a few nights.
Alright, it's all fine and dandy until now, but as we can see in the background, the game is set in a post-apocalyptic setting. So can we expect any sort of event that will make the beavers a little less happy and less safe?
Good timing.
Speaking of the devil. What is that?
Yeah, so that's a drought. It's one of the hazardous seasons in the game. And if you're familiar with what droughts do, they dry out things. Well, they happen when things dry out. So this water source that we can see producing nice blue water here, it will just stop. So you need to figure out a way of storing enough water so your settlement will survive the increasingly long droughts. That's the basic challenge in the game. But right now...
So what happens when all that water disappears?
Yeah, so as you can see by the surrounding area, that's all dried out. This main channel here will basically become the same. So all of this green land will become barren and all the crops will start drying out. And yeah, that's I guess the simplest rundown. And
I guess the water will no longer spin, which means the lumber mills will no longer work, right?
Yeah, that's true. We are currently reliant on the water wheel, and that will make us lose the power. We can mitigate it through various means. For example, we can place down a power wheel in the drought if we really wanted to. I think this is a little bit of a low priority, so actually I'll just completely pause it for now. And then we have the faction-specific wind turbines, or you can even accumulate powers in various ways, which I think we'll show off later. And right now, I think let's just return to the tutorial for a moment, which is asking us to give our beavers a little bit rest. So let's decrease those working hours back to 16, which should increase our well-being a bit. And let's see. Now, actually, one of our beavers chipped their teeth. So let's try and address that. the next day as well, using this teeth grindstone.
And is there anything that we can do to prepare ourselves for the upcoming drought?
Yeah, we do, and actually, now that I see, we have quite a bit of wood available, so we could get started building a dam over here. So let's build a dam that will be roughly this size, and we also have some spare science points, so we can build these levees, which they are different from the dams, as they block the water completely. However, as you can see, they are also a bit cheaper by 8 logs, so there will be a bit more of an economic option, especially when there's a hazard that's going to happen soon. And oh no, because we focused on the dam, we focused the gruesome sharpening of the teeth at the grindstone, but now our lumberjack is all ready to cut down more trees, which a bit short of right now. We can make them cut down these trees in the meantime. So let's just manage our workers a little bit, and this should be good for the next hour. Well, the next hour, the next day.
Okay, as we are waiting for the drought to hit, maybe we should have a look at some of the new map objects that we have added in 1.0. Is there anything new on this new iteration of Waterfalls?
Yeah, so Waterfalls has 2 of the newly introduced map hazards, which is just the bad tide drain that we can see over here. This will spew out bad water during a bad tide, which is a bit of a spoiler. It's the second hazard season that you can encounter in the game. And right now, as you can see, it's dormant, and it's only going to spill out bad water, which we actually can see here, and it will flood the land around. So if you want to use this space, you will have to be careful, because during a bad tide, it will not be so happy. So you'll have to engineer some way to redirect that bad tide elsewhere and secure the land. But oh, there's the drought. So the water is going out. And yeah, the dams are starting to hold the water a little bit, so it bounced back for a moment, but it wasn't fast enough. But we have some water in the storage, so I think it should last us those 2 days. Anyway, while our beavers are suffering, we can talk more about the new features, which are the thorns. And they are just very dense brambles, an obstacle, as this says. And if you will want to build here, you will have to demolish them first, but they also have the high risk of injury. So this is going to be a problem, and you might want to have a little bit more spare beavers or some ways to heal them fast if that happens.
And these were just the 2 of the new map objects that we have in the game, because in 1.0 we have added over 10, that's for sure, new map objects to the game. We'll cover them later, because we will also give you a quick look at the map editor. But for now, we can, I think, find out if our beavers survive, and if they do, or if they don't, we can jump to the next settlement that we have prepared for you.
Yeah, so there's 1 day left, and we have some spare science points, so maybe we can make their lives a bit brighter by, well, almost being able to build a lantern. So let's just wait, increase the working hours a little bit. We need that 1 last science point. There we go. And
yeah, I believe that what the beavers need in these trying times is having a lantern in the settlement. That will certainly help them.
they need a goal to focus on. I think that's most helpful.
You are completely right.
So as you can see, a lot of our carrots are dying, but our beavers are trying to save the few ones that are still alive before they die. But the water is flowing in, so they will bring maybe a few happy carrots back to life. There we go. So we are not completely out of food production. But as you can see, the dams are holding up the water, and right now it's rising, and after it surpassed the dam height, it's gone a little bit up. And something that I did here, and it's basically the simplest way of water manipulation, is not only did we save a little bit of logs on the dams and levees here, this also is making our water wheel spin a bit faster. So right now it's roughly generating, I think, 2, if not... Yeah, I think twice as much power as before, so it's pretty useful, because instead of building another water wheel, which you can also do to just increase this power further, you can just try and manipulate the land around it. And yeah, there's a little bit of information about the droughts, but I think this is a good moment to just hop on into a little bit more advanced save file.
Yeah, we'll see you in a moment.
Bye-bye.
All right, hello again. We are now back with another folktale settlement, but as you can see, it's pretty advanced compared to what we had on the screen a moment ago. So Adrian, what has changed here? What are we looking at?
Yeah, so this is a little bit more advanced. As you can see, it's cycle 18, so it's been, well, it's 17 more cycles advanced than the settlement we just left in the tutorial playthrough. And as you can see, I've built a bit around here. This is the Helix Mountain map. It has the titular Helix Mountain in the center, and then all the other stuff around it you can still do, but the Helix Mountain is definitely a landmark. And yeah, I think some of the first things you're going to notice is just how stacked this settlement is. Stacked in its verticality. It's doing all right when it comes to resources. Could be a little bit better, but I've tried to be as compact with the housing as possible here for the sake of just showing the verticality that you can do. So you can see some basic lodges down here that you start the game with, and then I've just built some scaffolds with the platforms and stairs to reach the high floors, and eventually I also unlock the double lodges, which are unique to this faction, which have the entrance on the upstairs floor. So to reach that more optimal housing, you have to build a scaffold as well. And yeah, as you can see, there's quite a bit of housing packed in here. And
okay, so what are our options in terms of stacking the buildings up and reaching them from a different layer of terrain?
Yeah, so there's a few things you can do. I think the one in the foreground is the most obvious, which is the platforms. They can serve as a base for different structures, or you can just put buildings on top of one another. So here we have one of my early game berry storages, which I just used to prop this lodge up. And you can do the same with lodges as well, as we can see over here. And we can also use a nifty little layer tool to just see what's happening down here. So this lodge is serving as a support for this double lodge, and then more double lodges to come after that. And that basically gives you the option of building up and up, but you will always follow the same footprint. But to expand on that, we also have some more endgamey ways, which we'll see on the next save. Also skipping into the future a little bit. Actually, I started using them here. So we have the overhangs, which allow you to reach out over the edge. So for example, we can place down some overhangs here, and we actually have some resources spare. So if we increase the priority, we'll be able to make this in no time. And there's obviously larger versions of this. This is a very humble show.
Yeah, and as we are growing our settlements upwards, we need to have a way of connecting these different layers. And the most basic idea is to use the stairs. but there is some stairs improvement that we have in 1.0. What is this?
Yeah, so we have the spiral staircase, which took us a while to get right. It's been one of the highly requested but simple features. And previously, you could only connect the stairways by going to the straight line and having a platform in between and then doing a turn. Now you can do all in one using the spiral staircase, which will use a little bit more advanced materials. It is still the peak of beaver engineering, looking at the timeline. And with that, you will just be able to make some nice, nifty, compact staircases to reach higher land.
Okay, that's about upgrading the stairs, but do we also have any sort of more advanced workshops here in this settlement compared to the basic lumber mills that we saw before?
Yeah, so in this settlement, I think we're about producing every resource possible, and yeah, that seems right. So here we have my first industrial site in this settlement. Let's advance the time a little bit since it's getting dark. And here we have some lumber mills as well as a gear workshop, which is the first complex resource that you will find in the game. And it converts planks into gears. And then we have some more production chains over here. So we have, well, more gears. And then we have some paper, which converts some blocks into paper, which we can use to make these nice and big windmills that are unique to this faction. And then, well, wood isn't the only thing that our beavers can process. So we also have some metal processing here. So we have the smelters, which make metal blocks, which is the beaver version of an ingot, from just some scrap metal that is harvested from human ruins of I guess we won't know what these structures were before, and beavers wouldn't really understand it if we told them.
Okay, one of the other neat things that we can see here is the addition of these little lines where the beavers are zipping around on. What are we looking at? What is it?
Yeah, so we're looking at the zip lines, and this is also something that we've made different between factions, and it's the fast transportation system. So once you've gained control over metal, you will be able to build faction-specific transportation methods. In the case of folklores, once again, it's the zip lines, which start out at these stations, and then they connect further through these pylons. And if you want, you also have a zipline beam, which has a bit of a different layout, so we can hang it from buildings like this without blocking you from building up here, for example. And yeah, the making connections is as simple as, here we'll just remove it for a moment. It's just clicking here and here. And yeah, ziplines are a little bit more limited than the Iron Teeth variant that we'll see in the future, but they're also a lot easier to place down. So it's a trade-off.
Cool. And has anything improved in terms of water management and water manipulations? Do we have anything better than the dams and levees that we saw before?
Yeah, so something that we have here, we obviously have a more expanded use of the dams and levees. That's still the most basic of the building blocks that we have access to. But here we have the floodgates and their various uses. And these floodgates, well, they are a bit old by now, but they used to allow me to redirect the bed tides here, which we might be able to show off later. And the way that floodgates work, I think this will be a better example since it's not covered up, is you can raise it up and down, and they go in those 0.05 changes. And so yeah, they're a bit more flexible than the dams were, still are.
Okay, and is there any way to manipulate the floodgates not manually. Can
Yeah.
we make them behave in some sort of automatic way?
Yeah, that's just what we added in the most recent update, which is the automation. In here, as you can see, I have a lot of it locked. We'll show off the other structures later. And the simplest way to use the automation is through a lever. So, as I mentioned, this was my old way of redirecting the bed tides. So what I did is I hooked up all of these floodgates to this lever, which is as simple as just clicking on the automation menu and then selecting the option, which will then apply to all the other ones in the area. And then we can also just copy and paste that to everything that should be affected. So when we switch this lever, what I had to do is just click this button and then the water would be redirected up to this side. But now we have a nice tree colony here, so we don't do that anymore. So let's just switch it off. And as you can see, you can also pin this lever, so I can do it without having to find it on the map. And something that I have right now is with the metal, I unlocked access to the contamination sensor. So the way it works is when this contamination sensor detects contamination, it will simply raise these highlighted floodgates and then the water will flow off into this canal instead.
We are going to have a closer look at the automation and all the advanced scenarios that we can do with that in a moment. But before we jump to our next faction and the next settlement, we should probably see a bad tide in action and see how that works with the automation setup that Adrian has prepared. So let's skip time a little bit, and we'll see you in a second.
Yeah, see you there.
All right, we have jumped forward in time. We are now at the beginning of what we mentioned before, which is a bad tide. And what is a bad tide, Adrian?
Yeah, so bad tide, as we talked about previously, we have our hazardous season, which is in contrast to the drought. It's, well, not exactly in contrast, but it's not dry. It will instead bring you an abundance of bad water. So as you can see, the water is getting contaminated, and since it's Helix Mountain, it's going to be a moment before it actually reaches us. So we have a little moment to prepare mentally, because the solution is already automated.
But why is bad water bad, really?
As you can see, the ongoing process here is that the irrigation is dragging, it's being taken away from the land. So bad water does two things. First of all, it lowers the irrigation range of the contaminated water, and then it will actually contaminate the ground. That's its most basic effect that you will see around. And contaminated crops, plant life, not just crops, will die a lot faster than if it was drying out. And as an additional downside, beavers that are unfortunate enough to touch the bed water, for example, if you have any puffs going through the liquid, they will also get sick from that, which you will have to treat in different ways depending on the faction. So as we can see, the contamination is getting here. The sensor has triggered and then raised this floodgate, which will just nicely let this bed water rise up. And this is another thing that you can take into account when engineering your power solutions for the settlement. So I have these water wheels, which are working obviously when the water is just flowing on its own. But now it's time for a bed tide, so that water is not flowing. So instead, I've made a second set of water wheels, which will start working shortly as this water spills into this canal. And this, in turn, will allow me to keep producing all the planks, gears, paper, treated planks, and metal blocks, even during bad weather.
That's actually pretty clever. You basically killed two birds with one stone, as they say. Um, but we can see something new to 1.0 right now, which is this little yellow ring that emits some smoke. What is it?
Yeah, so it's a geothermal field, and it's one of the new map objects that we've added in the recent update. And just if someone identifies, well, we already call this map the Helix Mountain. This is a little special version for this stream, so this will not be here by default. You can utilize these geothermal fields using geothermal engines, which are not expensive. They do cost quite a bit of logs and planks, but you can just plop them down on the fields, and as you can see, it's only the fields that they can be built on top of. And once it's built, it will be a continuous source of power. So we mentioned earlier the unconventional maps. So one of its main uses is for maps of that variety, where you don't have a source of power you can depend on. So it's a crutch for an early game or even a later game expansion if you can expand your settlement to gain access to multiple ones at the same time.
But with the geothermal fields, the Folktails have fulfilled their long-term dream of having some sort of an engine in the settlement. Fortunately for the other faction, they do not have they do not have to jump through too many hoops to have an access to an engine. So with that said, we should probably wait for this to finish, but then we can jump to the other faction, the Iron Thief, that are famous for their engines and quite a few other unique buildings.
Yeah, so that's the geothermal engine done and working, and well, it's going to be another day while the Betadite is still washing through the side here before this line of power shafts is connected. In the meantime, there's another object that we can show off on this map, which are the relics. Also, a little cheatsy addition to this map for this showcase. So relics are just leftover bits of human technology that beavers can investigate and maybe learn some lessons, good lessons, to improve their own lives. So a relic is basically a container for science points. So once it's been demolished by beavers, you will just gain access to 3,000 science points in this case, or here we have a smaller variant which will offer you 800 science points in return for demolishing it and just investigating what makes it tick.
Yeah, we for 1.0 we added some other remnants of the human civilization to the maps, relics being one of them, but we also have some other that you will see in a moment. But right now we can see that the geothermal engine is working, so there's a lot of energy to be had from that geothermal field that we had. But I think we should probably jump to the Iron Thief save to see the many other ways of being a beaver in a post-apocalyptic wasteland.
Yeah, let's show it off now.
Hello again and welcome to the Iron Thief settlement. As you can see, we are looking at a completely different architecture, different colors, different buildings, and basically it's a very advanced settlement. So Adrian, be our guide.
Yep, so as you mentioned, it's the other faction, the Iron Thief, and they are different in pretty much every aspect that we could differentiate them in. So they have their own crops, which we can see growing all around here. So their most basic crop, which I got rid of, is the kohlrabi, because it's not very efficient, which goes against true Iron Thief values, as players that are fans of them surely know. So here we just have some cassavas, soybeans, some canolas that are also processed in unique ways. So if we go into my industrial area, we can see a whole bunch of fermenters, and that's the most basic type of processed food for the Arantive, just fermented cassavas, fermented soybeans, and mushrooms, which we are not producing here just yet.
It definitely sounds tasty.
Yeah. Yeah, they also are very different in the ways that they produce power. So here we, for example, have the compact water wheels instead of the Folktales wider ones. So, as we mentioned before, you can just try and squeeze more power through a very narrow water channel, and this allows you to squeeze even more power, and it's less expensive than the normal water wheel. And obviously, if you have a tiny water wheel, then you have to compensate for that by having a very large one, which we can see working very hard over here, but we'll get back to that later. And just as the Folktales have their windmills, the Arantive have the steam engines, which I also run on natural resources in a way, although in this case it's not wind, but logs and water, and they produce steam, and they just turn whenever there's power required.
Is there anything different in terms of how the Arantive are living, where they are accommodated, and how do they, well, procreate?
Yeah, so when it comes to the Arantive housing, we have, well, much bigger options than the Folktales, but different to the Folktales, they don't really enjoy their time in the housing so much as to just create new beavers. So we have the barracks and the row houses, which are just narrow but very tall. And instead, little beavers come out from these breeding pods, which, when supplied with water and berries, they will slowly produce a new beaver. And that basically frees up some housing spots. Actually, housing is not completely necessary for the Arantive, because the beavers will just keep plopping out. And if you are advanced enough, you might even access the advanced breeding pod, which will instead produce an adult beaver that will be ready to work immediately after getting out of the pod.
Yeah, that's our social commentary, I guess. What else is different? You mentioned the diet, you mentioned the engines and how they increase the population numbers. But do they even care about having some sort of attractions in their cities? Is well-being important for them as well?
Yeah, so just like Folktales, well-being is something that we can track for the Arantive, and it will also improve their performance, just like the Folktales. They do have fun in different ways. So while Folktales have like those slow and cozy attractions that are just well, they're the ways of having simple and safe fun. You have some less safe options for the Arantive, which we'll be able to see in use in a moment, or just things that are more about exercise and improving yourself rather than just simply having fun. So we can see it by their swimming pool, which I've actually put very smartly, completely covered up by everything. So beavers can come over here and just swim laps and get faster, stronger. Or just an exercise plaza, which since we aren't Eve, our working hours are a bit longer. So let's speed things along. And we will be celebrating the end of the workday with a little fireworks show. And now we will have beavers coming. Well, some of them are deadly tired, I guess. But some beavers should be going to the attractions soon. So we can see some beavers swimming in the swimming pool, and maybe some in the exercise plaza. No, I guess it's a little bit too far and late for them. But they will use it soon enough. Besides the attractions, we have the faction unique decorations. So there's some simple stuff. Like we have very first the beavers here, but next to them we have the faction unique shrub, which is more square than the Folktales one. And then we have a whole plethora of braziers, beaver busts, beaver statues made out of metal, bells, clocks, as well as fences. and some banners, which, well, those are shared between factions, but are also a bit more advanced.
As a little bit of beaver trivia that I'm supposed to drop here and there, the beaver's teeth are orange because of the high amount of iron that they have in their teeth. And that's the reason that we named the second faction the Iron Teeth. But speaking of iron and metal in general, are the Iron Teeth more inclined to work with metal?
Yeah,
compared
and
to the Folkways?
that's something we've improved upon in the recent updates. So Iron Teeth are, well, I guess we're shaping them into just those skilled metal workers. So it's a little bit of a difference from the Folkways. They will start with an unlocked scavenger flag, so they can start collecting scrap metal immediately, as well as a bit of a simpler metal processing than the smelter, which is the metalsmith. And the metalsmith is something that you can plop down a bit earlier, and it will let you build some metal structures like the steam engines, some hydroponic gardens, which I sadly don't have in this village. But yeah, the metal is definitely introduced on a much earlier stage than the folktales, especially if you want to just start an advanced production, which is very encouraged in the Iron Thief's case.
I believe that metal is one of the goods that is needed to create these little pipes that we have everywhere on the map. Is that correct?
Yeah, so these are the tubeways. The Iron Thief answer to Folklor's ziplines, or maybe it's the other way around. But they are a bit cramped, but these are like these sort of pneumatic tubes that just yeet beavers from one tubeway station to another. And you can see the different lights going back and forth. And they do require a whole bunch of more resources than the zip lines for the folktales, but they are also a lot faster.
Okay, and why are some of the lights yellow and why are some of them blue?
Yep, so as you spotted, the yellow lights are for the bots. And bots are the second type of unit that we have in Timberborn. And they're actually charging over here. So bots are basically robotic beavers, and you can assign them to jobs just like normal beavers. However, they come with a few benefits. First of all, they work 24/7. They don't really need sleep. They do need to recharge, like these bots here right now. And they have some special needs of their own that you can satisfy to improve their performance. However, their upkeep is generally easier than beavers, at the cost of, well, needing metal to construct them in the first place.
Okay, are the bots exclusive to the Iron Thief?
Well, they work differently between factions, but you will have both access to bots in both factions. In the case of Iron Thief, we have these clockwork contraptions that charge at these spinny charging stations, and in the case of Folktales, you will have to produce fuel out of spare crops.
Okay, I would like to get back to that huge construction that you had with the large water wheels in the background. Can you tell us a little more about how this works? Because we can see that we now have the aqueducts in the game, right?
Yeah, so this is a very big aqueduct, and I'm using it to just stack up bed water from these bedwater sources down below, and this water rises up, and then it's safely moved above the ground without contaminating it, and just dumped at the edge where I am not really doing anything with the land. And yeah, you can do a whole bunch of things with the aqueducts. You are not limited to having a single aqueduct. You could, for example, have multiple aqueducts on top of one another. So you would just go from right to left and then down and then just stack as many water wheels as you could. But this was already plenty enough power for me, as you can see by the supply and demand here.
Okay, that looks pretty efficient. I think we will get to these blinking lights in a moment, but first, what is that huge rock rocket launcher shaped building that we can see in the center. Is
Yeah.
it really a rocket launcher?
It is a
something-
launcher in a way.
It's a launcher, yeah.
So this is the Iron Thief Wonder, and each faction has their own wonder, which basically serves as the end game goal for each of your playthroughs. And wonders are quite expensive to unlock, and then also expensive to build. They will, however, give you access to... Oh, my camera jumped. They will, however, give you access to a large boost of well-being, just with the beavers being awed by the Earth Repopulator being launched. And yeah, we can launch it after filling up with treated planks and berries. And then I guess we can see the results of that. But I don't know if you'd like to keep that for the end of the stream.
I think we can do it right now because I think there is at least one more surprise waiting for us in this area. So let's launch it, please. Let's launch it, please.
Okay. Well, here we go then. And there we go with an achievement in the corner.
Oh yeah, right. We have the Steam achievements right now. That's something that we should also mention. But let's observe what happens.
Yeah, so here beavers will just start going on adventures, one at a time, in different directions, trying to survey the wasteland and I guess hopefully return at some point. But as you can see in this log, they are being launched for now. They are happy where they go.
Definitely. They are off to the brighter and better future. If not for them, then maybe for future civilizations that come after them. So that was about launching the Wonder. And as we mentioned, we now have the Steam achievements in the game, which means we have, at the time of the recording at least, we have 59 achievements. And we have just completed a map in a way. Does it mean that we need to quit the game right now, or can we continue playing?
No, we can just resume our playthrough over here. And as you can see, just before we get out of here, you can see some fun statistics. You can see that we've drunk quite a bit of water, painted some tails, cut quite a lot of trees. But also, for this map, which is called Craters, we have completed the Wonder as the Iron Thief, obviously. And this unlocks us the Flexible Start, which if you want to start another playthrough on this map, you will be able to place your starting location on your own, and you will be able to choose, I recommend a viable location, so for example maybe this little spot with water hidden to the left, and just have a different experience when you play it next. But right. I think let's just resume.
Yes, let's resume, and we should probably address the elephant in the room, which is the different lights that you have lighting up across the map. We already know a little bit about automation, but here you have a much more sophisticated automation setup, so tell us about it.
Yeah, so I've been having quite a bit of fun testing different implementations of the automation on the save. So here we have just something that's very simple decoration, which are just lights that go from left to right, lighting up these different colors. And these are the indicators, which you can use to display information in various ways. So I could also pin this, just like this man in reservoir light. And this indicator will show up here. I can also pin it when it's on, so right now it would be off. And we can also show a warning, add a journal entry, or replicate colors, which is for a bit more of a complex setup. But yeah, this is simply decorative, but it can also be functional. As we can see, I have here my very big reservoir. Well, not as big as the one right next to it, so it's not very big, I guess. But it is showing the current level of water from the side. So this is done in a simple way of just having some depth sensors that trigger at the right timings, and then having some relays which are used for simple logical operations to prevent the other lights from lighting up at the same time. And that light that's currently on, it's also displayed on the left side here, so without having to look at it myself, I am aware that my main reservoir is pretty filled up. And if it ever goes too low, I have another depth sensor that will just give me a very loud warning with an alarm. So those are the two use cases that I have for the indicator lights, at least the ones that are practical in a way. And there are some things that you can do besides the lights. So just like we controlled some of the floodgates with levers earlier, you can control them automatically with other sensors other than just the contamination sensor. That I also have a similar setup here. It will just rise up the floodgates up and redirect the bed tide off through here where it won't bother anyone. So similarly, just something that's a bit... that's for the beaver's well-being. I have a little chronometer that will activate when it's not working hours, and it will raise this floodgate, so the swimming pools that currently don't have enough water, this will cause the water to rise and activate these swimming pools.
Okay, we should probably say that on top of having the simple sensors and the buildings that work on the signal sent by the sensors, we also have a bunch of other more advanced buildings that are related to the automation feature, like the timers, the memory, even the HTTP levers and adapters, which are quite handy for our content creators, but not only them. You could, for example, make the Alexa in your room play a very loud warning when you are running out of water, if that's something that you prefer. The automation at the time of this recording has been out for, I believe, a week or a week and a half, but we've already seen so many crazy setups made by our players that it just makes my head spinning. We have seen the simple computers made in the game. We had our share of Rickroll animations made with the indicators. Lots of very cool stuff, and we just can't wait to see what else our players come up with. But going back to the cool new 1.0 stuff, on top of the automation, we also mentioned that we have the many new interactive map objects, or maps. And I think that in the upper right corner right now, we have something that is blinking with this warning red. What is that?
Yeah, it's very ominous. So this is the unstable core, and as you can see, it will explode in 5 days. And it's one of the hazards that as a map creator, you can place down on the map and just plan out challenges for the players to face. So from our built-in maps, we have pressure and spillage that focus on this type of hazard, especially the spillage map. And basically some unstable cores will blow up during your playthrough, and they will just create some problems for you to deal with. And yeah, in this case, this is another case of just an artificial hazard that we've added to the map. It's not here by default. And it will blow this terrain around, which you can see. And who knows, maybe there's something dangerous behind it.
Do you think that within these 5 days that we have left, is there anything we can do to prevent that possible disaster from happening? Or at least can we warn the beavers in some way, like put up a banner that says, it's going to be dangerous here?
Yeah, we could put down a banner, and I'm not sure. I don't think it will warn them, but maybe this flame icon looks very dangerous. So we can just wait for beavers to construct this warning. And
Yeah, that's one of the new ways of customizing our settlements. It doesn't really help in this situation, as you are about to see, but you are able to put up the banners of the two available sizes, and you can use either one of the graphics that are provided by default, or you could upload your own custom graphic. So you are free to do any sort of visual customization with the banners. And also, I think one of the it's a little more obscure, but it's also possible to customize the color of the lights in some of the buildings that we have in the game, right?
yeah, for example, these indicators, you can change the lights. And I believe, yeah, we can also change the tubeway stations, for example, if you want them to stand out a bit more. So we have the green station, we have the blue station. Actually, no, that looks a bit too close to the bots in this case, because they're made right next to it. So maybe it was the orange station. And we can have blue station next to this water reservoir. And this will just makes some of the things pop out a little bit more.
That's very cool. And I think we will be showing you some of the new map objects in a moment. But I think right now we should probably speed up the time a little bit to see what happens when that mysterious, ominously blinking object eventually blows up.
Yeah, I guess let's fast forward 3 days, and we'll see you when it's time to meet our possible doom.
Okay, it looks like we are a little less than a day from the explosion, so I guess we just need to accept our fate and see what happens.
Yeah, it will blow up shortly, and well, we can maybe say our final goodbyes to the area around the bomb. All the newly named green station, the forester that's still working pretty hard, and all the beavers traveling through here. Actually, why are there so many beavers here? No, they are. Oh,
I guess the banners are really cosmetic. They do not care about the warning signs.
Yeah, run, you fools. There's all these flame signs which definitely tell you what's going to happen.
We can feel the anxiety in the air. The final fireworks are going off.
Yeah, we probably should have fast forwarded a bit more. Especially since we're not really preventing this in any other way than with spiritual reinforcement. But as you just heard, there was a little tic-tac TikTok sound. And just as we start...
we also have our new notifications that make it easier to spot stuff like this.
And there it goes. It was a whole bunch of bad water. And yeah, now everything's flooded with the bad water. Not so happy times for everyone that lived in the area.
Yep. I guess we as a players, we need to accept that this happened. Do you have any happy distraction for us as the beavers are getting contaminated?
Well, now that you mention it, well, the beavers are not having the best of time. We can enjoy it a bit by just playing a game of tic-tac-toe. So I'll just start it real quick. And before we can start, obviously, we need to do a little randomization for the start of the game. So we have bots that are going to deliver water here. Oh, and it seems like Circle is going to go first. which I guess that can be you.
Yeah, sure. What do I do? I need to...
You just tell me which where do you want to put down your circle?
I believe the correct strategy was to take the one in the corner. So let it be lower left, please.
Lower left. Okay, there we go. It's my turn. So I'll take the opposite corner.
I guess the middle one.
All right. And I'll just take... No, decisions. You did a weird move there. I'll just take this.
I guess I need to prevent you from winning, so upper left.
Yeah. And then I'll prevent you from winning as well. Well, at least one of the ways that you were going to win.
I will go for the... Yeah, bottom right, please.
There you go. And yeah, we have honor rules here, so we just reach the tic-tac-toe and don't continue the game. And
yeah, as you can see, there's a lot of crazy stuff that you can do in the game. I was really not prepared for what Adrian had here. I was honest. I was really convinced that this is just some sort of an artificial setup, not a real game of tic-tac-toe. But this is Adrian with his crazy ideas, so well done, Adrian.
Thank you. I think I've already seen crazier from our players, though.
All right. I think this is it for this settlement, but we still have some of the cool stuff that we really didn't mention. So why don't we jump to one of the main tools that Adrian works with, which is the in-game map editor.
Yeah, we'll see you there.
Okay, we are back in the main menu for the game. Adrian, why don't you take us to the map editor and tell us what are the available options for this?
Yeah, so there's two ways you can get started with the map editor. First is you can just create a new map from scratch, which will create a flat map with this size, which you can just input whatever you want. It doesn't have to be a square as well. It's going to be 9944. And there's another easier way, I guess, to get started, especially if you just getting acquainted with this, which would be by editing one of the official maps or a custom map if you've downloaded any. So in this case, we'll just edit the pressure map because it has a lot of the new objects, so we'll be able to show them off. And here we are in the map editor. This is the start of well, where everyone would be playing. You can decide that yourself as well. Just plop it down here, here, there, even here. And yeah, I think we can just go from left to right to all the tools, or do we just want to limit it to the new things?
I think for our new players it would be best to give them a quick crash course in map editing, starting with the most basic tools.
Yeah, so the most basic tools that you have access to are the terrain brushes, and there's 3 of them. We have the one for the absolute height. You can change its shape, you can change its size, or even its height. And how the absolute brush works is it will always brush to a certain height. And something that's might be exciting for new, returning players is that you can now undo whatever changes you've made, and there's no real limit to the undo things. I guess I've been told by my programmer that the actual limit is how much RAM you have, so watch out for that, but it's going to be a while before it runs out. Similarly, we have the relative height brush, which it's relative. So you can see there was one height difference between these 2 steps, and these 2 planes are at different heights. And since the game is running, all the irrigation will also be updating in real time. If I were to dig this area, down, like this. And the third brush is the sculpting brush, which can be used to either add terrain or subtract it. And as you can see, you can only extend terrain up to a certain distance. That's because terrain past this range, if you were to break these blocks, it will just go away. But due to the peculiar wasteland physics, you can stack things like that. As you know, the arch is a very strong type of structure. And as the sculpting name suggests, you can also sculpt into terrain. And terrain, since a few updates ago, is also fully three-dimensional. So you can just do whatever you want here. And then continuing.
By the way, you have just you have just shown off one of the main additions to the map editor in 1.0, which is a rather basic functionality of undo and redo, right?
Yeah.
This is something that we've been told for years, basically, that should be added to the map editor, and probably Adrian was one of the loudest proponents of this addition. So we're really happy to have this here.
Yeah, especially after having access to it for a lot longer than players, just looking at the map creator channels and all the posts and seeing various complaints and having access to it myself, I was feeling a little bit guilty. Yeah, continuing on, we have the natural resources, which with which you can spawn mature and seedling variants of all the resources that are shared between factions. You can't place resources that are obviously unique to the folk tales, because then if you start the playthrough as the Iron Thief, they wouldn't be usable, or just in our case they would just disappear. Yeah, then you have a similar brush that's just the opposite, so it will remove all the trees, and then we can replace them, maybe even with a mixed forest of this kind. And then we just have a general delete objects brush. You can just delete everything with it. So all the various objects, all the ruins, all the stairs or slopes rather, and then everything that's not a terrain block. And yeah, after you're done with all the editing, you obviously want to take a nice screenshot of the thumbnail of the map, so you can just update it to whatever you think shows off the map the best. In our case, it's usually just a wide shot of the map. And then you can write whatever description you want, like this. Map edited for the 1.0 presentation. And players will be able to see that whenever they load into your map. So those were the simple functionalities of the game, and that's all the water physics and objects that you can place besides that. So we've gone through the starting location, which we've misplaced terribly now. But with the water, we have access to a whole plethora of different structures. So we have the simplest water source, which just spills water around itself. And then a water seep, which behaves in a similar way. But as you can see here, if we compare these two, water seep will just fill up that container while the water source will flow out of it. So the way that water seep works is just maintains a certain height above itself, which is 1 block to be exact, or a little bit less, and then the water source can be stacked. You can stack the things around it infinitely, which is made use of on this map to a large degree. Yeah, going through all the other objects, we have the aquifers, which players can put drills on top of, and then they will flow, just like this. And if you want to make your map a little bit more accessible, we can put down an ancient aquifer, which all the players need to is just hook up a little bit of power and the water will flow. Then we have better water variants of the water sources and water seeps. which work in exactly the same way as the other ones, just look a bit different. And then yeah, no.
Sorry, are we able to customize the strength of the water sources and bad water sources?
Yeah, you can customize it all, so you can change the strength of the water sources, or the bed water sources, even the aquifer or the bed tide rates. You can also give them a delayed activation, so this means that they would start dormant, and we can set up a cycle, let's just go cycle 5, and then once cycle 5 starts, players will get a notification. It will be something of the sort, bed water source will activate in 10 days, and they will be able to navigate to it as well. The last of the water objects is the bed tide drain, and as we mentioned, it only works during the bed tide, and you can preview it in the map editor using this menu at the top. So right now we're set to temperate weather, but we can preview the drought, which will just start drying out water. But because of the nature of pressure, there's quite a lot of water just stacked up in the pipes. But we can also preview the bed tide, which will instead produce bed water from the sources and the bed tide drains. And if you've messed up, just like me, you could just reset the simulation and test out how things would work in another way. So moving on to objects, we have two water affecting objects, the blockages and dams. So now we have some bed water spilling into here, so we can put down a blockage or a natural dam as well. And this will prevent liquids from traveling one or the other ways. Moving on, we have clicked on the wrong thing. We have the slopes, which you can use to just create naturally existing paths to other places, and you can combine them with natural overhangs to create even more crazy structures that wouldn't work. And then the geothermal fields, which you can use to generate power, thorns to prevent access to it, unstable cores that will blow up the area around, or you can be nicer than that and just put some piles and warehouses and tanks filled with resources for players to discover, and similarly all the different types of relics. Yeah, and that's, I think I was a bit fast, but comprehensive rundown of the different things that you can place down. I guess I skipped over the ruins and then the underground variant, on top of which, there's so many pipes in the ground here, it's hard to put down another mine, which players can use as an infinite source of metal.
Yeah, you should probably go down with the layer tool and show us the secrets of this map. If you do not want spoilers, everyone, just close your eyes, but Adrian has hidden quite a few surprises here.
Yeah, so this map has a pretty well-developed system of underground pipes, and it's just a little teaser of things you can do with the map editor. And you can see there are some bombs hitting around, just different combinations of all the blocks, like the blockages you can break down here, or a bed water source that is contaminating the source of clean water, and then instead is coming up over here and contaminating this land around. It's really, you can do a whole lot of different things with these setups.
Yeah, and basically with map editor 1.0 we are able to build the maps like never before, but this applies to the custom content in general, because one of the things that 1.0 adds that we won't be able to show here because it would be rather boring in terms of going through the UI and code and stuff like this, but in Timberborn 1.0 we have upgraded the modding pipeline, which means that it's much easier than ever before to create custom content for the game. And as you check out our mod repositories, you will see that our players have come up with so many crazy things that this upgraded modding pipeline now allows. And also, in Timberborn 1.0, we made some of the mods that our programmers created available in the game by default. And I'm referring to the fireworks that we have in the game. And it's a very neat addition. And also, the spiral stairs is something that many players try to emulate for years, but it's finally here. And that's I think this is about it. This is Timberborn 1.0 in a nutshell. A lot of good stuff, and I think great wrap up to over 4 years of early access. We are very happy with what we achieved in Timberborn 1.0 and all the years before. And we want to thank every single player that picked up the game at some point for playing the game, offering their feedback, for all the creations that our amazing community has put out over the years. It's been a great journey, and it feels really great to be in this post early access world. So once again, big thanks to all our players for playing this game. And I think that's it. Adrian, do you have any final words for our broadcast?
No, I think it's just really exciting to be out of early access and just present the complete version, the 1.0 version of the game.
Yeah. Well, this wraps this up. We thank you all for joining us. We hope you will like what we have prepared for you in Timberborn 1.0. And I guess we wish you a very great day.
Bye bye.